Okay guys, so we got the coilovers in, and I remember the last video I told you guys I was gonna show you, how to mount them onto your spindles. These are the Apex Engineering coilovers. They're the Reaction series, I guess. There's a lot of different, coilovers you can get for your Z, and I just decided to go with these because the frame rails on this car I got from them, and the quality was just like amazing. So yeah, these are the full length subframe connectors that go all the way back to the rear subframe. So I know that, they take pride in their quality and all that. And I don't think they make them, but they assemble them. They're probably made overseas somewhere. I don't know, but it said right on the box, assembled in the USA. So I'm just giving you guys some information, to help you make your decision. They're about the same price as all the other ones. I mean, there's a couple like Silvermine that is a little cheaper, but if you go with like a BC or these, or not Techno-Toy. Techno-Toy tuning is a lot more money, but any of the regular coilovers that you would weld onto your spindles, they're about average priced. So let's see. They look really nice. I mean, they're I really like the color, and the build quality looks pretty good. So this is, I think, one of the rears. You can see that the fronts have, the fronts have this brake mounting tab to mount your brake lines. So let's get one of these out of here. So you can see it's got like a nice stainless piece up here where your camber adjustment is. Some nice hardware. What else? Yeah, it comes with everything you need. It comes with, okay, so it comes with these. So what you want to do is, if you have I believe it's if you have a 240, you use these adapters, okay? But since this is a 280, we're gonna measure it and we're gonna see if it fits or not. All right, so we got our little dial calipers here. Make sure we zero it out. Okay. All right, we're at 0. So we're gonna measure 2.1. This thing's really dirty. 2.164. And then we'll measure the inside. This is the part that will be getting welded on. 2.169. So, okay. So that means that this has a little bit of clearance to slip over. Now, like I said, if you had a 240 with the skinnier stub, okay, you're gonna want to use these adapters. But since we don't, we have some adapters. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with those. Probably find something to do with them. But anyway, this here unscrews. This whole thing unscrews, so you're not welding, with your shock body, on there and getting hot. So you just unscrew this. You kind of measure your depth here. You got, go there, take a look at it. So about 2 inches or less than 2 inches. So what you're gonna wanna do is that's just gonna sit basically on this little spot here, this shelf. So you're gonna cut your stub off at around 2 inches. I mean, this is fairly simple. If you have like a welder, if you have like a MIG welder or a TIG welder, whatever, this is pretty simple. I think I'm going to use my MIG just because of the speed. I think I mentioned that in the last video, that you want to kind of do this quickly so it doesn't heat up all this and heat up all the, you know, like you don't want to heat up everything. You want to get it done quickly. So let me go ahead and I'm going to unscrew that and just kind of look at it and see where that brake line fitting fits or sits. And we'll go from there, and then we'll start cutting. I'm going to have to cut it a little shorter than, because you don't want to go long and then this is going to be sticking up and have a gap here. You kind of want it to just sit, you know, flush. So we'll cut it at maybe just under 2 inches and go from there. I know that this is going to be a little messy because these have oil in them. So when you cut them, you maybe do it over a garbage can or something and then just let it drain for a little bit. Okay, so I made a little mark here in the metal and kind of marked where I'm gonna cut. And the more I was thinking about it, you know, when you're welding, a gap is not bad. So like if there's a little gap that you can fill with the weld, that's actually a good thing. So what I'm thinking is, instead of just butting it up flush here, I may leave a tiny gap, you know, right here. And then you can just like fill that in with the welder, you know, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That'll give you a really strong weld. Sometimes, okay, when you butt something up, like, you know, up against really thick metal, it may not penetrate like you want, especially if you're not using like a really good welder, which I'm not. You know, I'm using a little Hobart, whatever, over there, the Hobart 140. So, you know, if there's a little tiny gap, I can get down into there and it'll penetrate into this thinner metal a little easier. It'll just be stronger. So yeah, I'll cut it off like right where I'm supposed to. This way it'll sit maybe just up a little bit, and then we'll fill that in with weld. So, all right, I'm gonna cut this. You know, whatever. I'm not gonna really show it because it's just cutting. So you're gonna have to figure out what's the best way for you to cut it, and then we're gonna clean it up with a wire wheel. Oh yeah, and also make sure, you know, make your first cut, and then flip your shock over so that it'll drain out. Otherwise, you'll make a big mess. So you just get through the, like I made a little small cut, and then I'm letting this drain. There's not a lot of fluid in there, but it's enough. I mean, just, you know, you want that out of there before you finish cutting it, so. All right, guys, so I just wanted to kind of show you how I'm going about this. Got a lot of tacks, so you want to make sure this doesn't get too hot up here because you got really fine threads. Like these threads are really fine. So the last thing you want to do is for this to warp or bend or anything. So tack, a lot of tacks, and then you're gonna go and just weld in between the tacks and then stop. Flip it around. You know, flip it around and then weld in between the tacks on the other side, and then flip it over, you know, like alternate around. So yeah, the last thing you want it to do is overheat. So just keep touching this to make sure it's not getting too hot, and yeah, take your time. All right, so I think it looks pretty good. The welds don't look too terrible for MIG welding, you know, obviously, which it's okay because, you know, we kept the heat out of it. So that's the main goal, was to keep the heat out of it. But yeah, threw some paint on it, cleaned it up. I used this Rust-Oleum here with the with some ceramic in it. You know, the engine enamel stuff has ceramic, so that if this gets hot, it shouldn't peel off. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good, and I got to do it 3 more times, all four corners of the car. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to show you guys on that. It's pretty much self-explanatory after that. You know, you just install it. It's going to thread into here, bolt to your arm, and basically just reassemble. The only other thing that we're going to probably not do, which other people do, is I see a lot of people like cutting a bigger hole here so that you can get to the camber adjustment. I'm not gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust it to where I think it should be and then bolt it up, because I just don't feel good about cutting all this out. You kind of taking away some of the structure here. And you know, on a McPherson strut style suspension, you get a lot of pressure going up into, you know, the strut tower. So I've actually seen people on Fox bodies, because Fox bodies are the same way. It's a McPherson style strut. Coming down from a wheelie, the strut goes right through the hood of the car, out through the shock tower, through the hood, and it just blows out. So my theory is to not weaken that, you know. So, but I think I can get it pretty close if I just kind of guess on, you know, if we're going to lower the car, you're going to get camber. Okay, so I'm gonna lean it out so that when I lower the car, it should be neutral. And if it's not, all you gotta do is take off the 3 bolts, pull it down, and adjust it and put it back in. So that's the way I'm gonna work it. You do however you want. I'm sure you could probably make a plate or something to reinforce it, but this is already painted, so. But anyway, the only other thing is I got the wheels the other day. These are the Rhoda, what's the brand here? Rhoda, I forget the name of them. RBs, the Rhoda RB. And I got 8x16 for the rear with a 10 offset. And the 10 offset is not negative, it's positive. Okay, so what that means is it's gonna be tucked in, not sticking out. Okay, so if you go 0 offset, you're gonna be really, really close to your fender here. And when you hit bumps, you might rub. But a negative 10 offset is gonna suck that in a little bit. Now, if it's sucked in too far where I don't like it, I can always space it out. But if you go with 0 offset and you're rubbing, you can't move it in. Okay, just remember that. And the fronts are 16x7s with a 4mm offset. Okay, meaning positive offset. Okay, so the front, so we have a staggered setup here. The fronts are a little bit skinnier. It's gonna be better for not rubbing when you turn. So here, let me see if I can hold these up to the car and give you guys a little bit of a look at them. Kind of hard holding the phone and doing this at the same time, but yeah, you can kind of see what it's gonna look like. Hopefully y'all can see that. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good, and it's kind of a more subtle look than going with like a bronze or something like that. I had thought about going like with a bronze wheel, but I don't know, like the pictures you see online,
there's all kinds of different color bronzes, and I didn't want to get one that I didn't like the shade of bronze it was. Some look a little bit goldish and I don't know, yellowish. I don't know. I just didn't like the way they look. So silver, you can't go wrong. I could always powder coat them later on down the road. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm just gonna end the video here. I just wanted to show you doing the coilovers, what wheels we got, and just a little update. Hopefully I start making a little more progress on this car, because I'm getting excited to get this engine installed. So anyway, that's gonna do it, guys. I will check y'all later.